58-47 win over Texas A&M. As our St. Joseph Health postgame rolls on, Buzz Williams joins us courtside, as he always does after every game. And, Coach, everything that you said about Virginia, I was just saying to John, it's one thing to watch him on TV. It's another to watch him courtside. It's a third thing to have to play against them. You always talk about teams being them. Mm-hmm. Virginia was them tonight, were they not?
Oh, yeah, they're going to be them if they play in Egypt. They're going to play them if they play a neutral site game. And they're going to be them if they play in front of 20,000 in this arena. Yeah. That is why they've had the level of success that they've had over the last 15 years with Coach Bennett. They're going to be them in every possible way.
One of the things that you were harping on, the possessions, is going to be a low possession game. And,
yep.
and it just magnifies. I mean, even though you battle back and get in it, then 2 or 3 possessions, and then there you go. Had 4 stops in a row, but just couldn't cash in there when we were trying to make it a ball game late.
Yeah, we had 4 turkeys in the first half, which is statistically incredibly hard with a low possession game. I think I'd mentioned to Monaco that I thought it'd be a 58 possession game. It ended up being 59. And as I mentioned to you, too, in pregame, you're not taking a 100-question test. You're taking a 25-question test. And so the value of the possessions are the value of the question. It's not worth 1. It's worth 4. And we met a lot of the things that we wanted to do. We beat them on the offensive glass by 11. And we beat them on the defensive glass by 1. We wanted to do a little better than that. We shot more balls than they did. Mm-hmm. We shot twice as many free throws as they did. And you guys weren't on the bus this morning, but I sat in the back with the guys, and I showed them what I had been studying this morning after chapel. There are 3 Power 5 games. They beat West Virginia, they beat Florida, and they lost to Wisconsin. And so I was explaining to them that the scoreboard is what the 20,000 people are going to look at. We've got to figure out how we're going to keep score in this game. And it's the only score that we're going to keep. Turkeys. Mm-hmm. We got to keep score on the turkeys. We got to beat them by 8 on the offensive glass. We got to beat them by 8 on the defensive glass. So because the game's going to be so slow, we got to get to 6 turkeys, 3 in each half. And now here's the next part. You spend so much time talking about their offense so that defensively you can have the endurance to concentrate long enough. So in the last 12 seconds, we're going to call that fire, and the whole bench is going to be going bananas. Fire, fire. That means you got to lock in because we're going to get to fire a lot. Mm-hmm. When they got to fire, they scored 65% of their time in the game. And then today, I explained to them, now we're going to get to fire on offense because of how they play defense.
Right.
So the first thing is, if we get to fire, that's really good because that means we still have the ball.
Right.
When we get to fire, we need to match them. The problem in their game against Florida did an unbelievable job on the glass. Florida had 19 turnovers. Mm. The math that we're trying to keep, and that was a lot of what we talked about on the bus. I think we'll do a good job on the offensive glass. I think we'll do a good job on the defensive glass. And if we do, we're right where we need to be. But in order for us to do what we need to do on the offensive glass, we got to get a shot. Because if you don't get a shot, you don't get an offensive rebound, you don't get fouled, and you're about to guard them for 27 and a half seconds. And so the math starts getting out of whack. And tonight we have 16 turnovers. We still shoot more balls than they do. Yeah. We still make more free throws than they attempt. Really good stuff. But if you give them the ball 16 times in a 59-possession game, yeah, it's just really hard to overcome mathematically.
Well, I thought a great example of just what you said is right before half. You have the lead. they get they use the clock all the way down. They
Yep.
get a 3, and it's a contested 3.
Yep.
And then we don't get a shot at the other end. So
Yep.
that's a 5-point swing in a 27-point scored half. And that just what you said. It just equates.
It's just the value of the possession is heightened in such a way that, to their credit, it becomes emotionally exhausting over the course of a 200-minute game. So I'm telling them at halftime, guys, it's pretty much what we talked about per timeout. Do you think we prepared for this game? Do you think you understand? Any advice on how we can do better? Coach, we got it. We're doing good, this, that. And I tell them at halftime, we've taken 12 questions on the test, and we've read the question for question number 13. But the next 12 are just like the hardest teacher you've had.
Right.
The next 12 questions on the test are going to be twice as hard because you're looking at the first 12 going, hey, we're right here. We're good. And it's going to lead to unpredictability. And we can't have unpredictability. And I kept asking them in the second half, hey, guys, what was that long sentence that I made y'all write down? UVA wins because of the opponent's lack of concentration, endurance, that leads to unpredictability and offensive sensitivity. And that's
what happened.
That's what happened. But 8 games in the last 23 days, 6 of them have been on the road. We've done a lot of good things. We've had some hard things happen. Our guys have responded like champs. I have great admiration, great respect for who they are. I'm not going to love them different, teach them different, coach them different based on the result. As happy as we were on the flight to Iowa State home, we're just as disappointed on the way home. We're going to take tomorrow off. Nobody's going to the facility, including me. And then we'll pray about how we're going to handle the next few days in getting ready to play Wofford. Everybody thinks that we're playing DePaul. We're playing Wofford. And we'll be ready for the next game. And I'm going to ride with these guys because I have great faith in who they are. And I'm excited that we're in week 4 of the season, and we've already been through what we've been through.
Henry Coleman back, and Henry Coleman being Henry Coleman.
He helps.
A little bit.
I mean,
and there's another guy that's going to help
I don't
too.
like talking about myself or our guys as players or as coaches, but I think he's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing about it too, Buzz, is we've had challenges, and I was telling Andrew that this is the most challenging, in a good way, non-conference schedule I can ever remember.
Well, if I know you probably don't have access, I mean this not in a condescending way, when they calculate tonight's games and you look on the numbers that matter in the morning, there's only going to be one Power 5 team who will have played a more difficult schedule up until this point. Entering tonight's game, we were 3rd, and I don't know the exact formula, but I do think that after they calculate this game, I think we'll for sure move from 3 to 2, and we may move to 1. But what happens is, and I think I've talked to Monaco a little bit on the radio show, is there's not an escape valve. And like I told the team, hey guys, 23 days ago we played at home, and 13 days later we played at home. Do you guys think if we'd have kept playing those games that we would know what we know now? No. Okay, well then we're going to keep growing up.
Right.
And when things are good, we're going to tell one another the truth. And when things are bad, we're going to tell one another the truth. Because we're closing down the month tomorrow with an off day. But let's talk about what we're doing next month to start. Oh, we're playing DePaul. Oh, and then we play another quad 1 at home. Oh, and then we play a national championship contender. They're calling it neutral. It's not neutral. It's down the street from their campus. Yeah, it doesn't get easier. But when you're trying to do what we're trying to do in regards to growth and development, it's like the buffalo or the cow. Here comes a storm. What does the cow do? Well, I mean, I grew up in the country. I know what the cows do. They're going away from the storm. And then what happens? Well, the storm catches them.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't grow up in Colorado, but What does a buffalo do? When he sees the storm, he runs to the storm so that as he continues to run, the storm passes him, and he's actually out of the storm before the cow ever is. Hey, man. Buffaloes.
That's who we are.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Right.
that's life.
That is
That's
it.
life.
That is it. Absolutely.
That's life.
Buzz, as always, we thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. You bet. We'll see you. Have a great off day. He is Buzz Williams as he joins us after every game here courtside. We'll come back, wrap up the 59-47 Virginia win over Texas A&M. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield.